Aloha and welcome. I'm Geralyn St Joseph, and this is Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics from Meetup. I also have two other groups, which you may have come in through. Today, we're going to discuss envy and how envy steals your joy, but not just how it steals your joy. We're also going to talk about how to maintain your joy and not allow envy to overcome you. We want to overcome it. That kind of energy isn't great to have around, although it's very common. And we're going to discuss different ways to get it out of your energy and out of your head so that you're not talking to yourself in such a way that you're stirring up some envy. So let's go. When we talk about envy, most people think that envy and jealousy are the same thing. They're two sides of the same coin, but they are not the same emotion, nor do they have the same energetic. They're close, they're siblings, but they're not the same. The difference between envy and jealousy is that jealousy is about losing something that you already had. So if you see your partner flirting with somebody else, or their ex-boyfriend comes around or girlfriend comes around, then you're jealous that someone's going to take them away from you. When you're envious, you see your ex-partner with somebody new and you're like, I want to be in a relationship, not with him or her, but I want to be in a relationship. I want what they have. Sometimes it's very specific, and sometimes it's not so specific, but it's a feeling that bothers you and eats away at you. When we talk about envy, what we're talking about is the flip side of pride. It is one of the 7 deadly sins. And being one of the 7 deadly sins, it means it is very low vibration. It is a much lower vibration than even jealousy. If I had to scale them, I would say envy is probably up there in the top 3, whereas jealousy, I would say, is around 15 to 20 maybe, because jealousy is natural and is something that is instilled in our biology to help us maintain our status in the group. Whereas envy is based in a sense of not having enough. It's based in a belief that someone has it easier than we do, and that someone has something that we deserve or maybe we work towards and they got. When we go into envy, what we end up doing is comparing ourselves to other people. Never compare yourself to someone else. Always compare yourself to who you were yesterday and who you want to be tomorrow. Another big negative with envy is that we look at people and where they are and don't really recognize that we didn't necessarily start out on the same level. And even if you did, and someone took a path, and maybe you were on the same path for a while, and then your paths diverged, you made different choices than they made. You have no idea what they're going through. So just because on the outside it looks like they have everything that you want, does not mean that that's what's actually happening. It also doesn't mean that they're satisfied with that or that they're happy. How many times have we gone on to look at true crime stuff and this perfect couple, and one of them's always really not happy and something happens, but the rest of the world is looking at them like, oh, they have everything. Why would that happen? And the truth is, you have no idea what's going on in somebody's heart or their mind. So stop comparing yourself to them. Another big one is we get the shoulds. You should all over yourself. I should have this. I should have that. I've been working X amount of years. I should be at this point. I should have that partner. I should have a house by now. All these shoulds don't make any sense at all, because it is what it is. And you can only start from where you are. If you're trying to jump to the end and you're going with the shoulds, it should be here, I should have this, then all you're going to accomplish is really frustrating yourself and spinning your wheels. Because when you're trying to jump over, you're not looking at everything that it takes to get there. You're not looking at where you are. Where am I starting? When we feel envious of someone or something, we need to look at what is the root of that? What is the core of that? Where is it coming from? You know, you're probably shooting all over yourself, but also it's often a very deep sense of not being worthy or feeling like someone has it easier than you, wanting to skip steps and get to the end because you deserve just as much as they do. There are a lot of different things that could underlie the sense of envy that we have. But envy is really powerful. It's a very, very strong emotion. And it can overtake all of your thoughts and all of your energy. And that's what we want to avoid. So when you start feeling envious, instead of moving forward and being like, whoa, I just want to do X, Y, and Z, and I deserve that. Why do they have that and I don't? Then what we need to do is look inside ourselves. We need to stop. And this is where hopefully you have a pen and paper. If you don't have one from the beginning, then get one now.
Cool.
Pause it. So now that you have something to take notes with, I'm going to ask you some questions and just write down the first things that come to your head. Don't try to think too deeply into it because generally your first answer is your best answer. And remember, this is to help you. So don't treat it like a joke, because if you treat it like a joke, then you're not going to get anything out of it. Okay? Let's get ready. Do you feel envious of anyone? If so, who? And what is it about them that you're envious of? Remember, envy often comes from a sense of not having enough, not having what you need, being frustrated. So when we look at what we're envious of, whether you're envious of somebody else's relationship, whether you're envious of the way somebody else lives, or maybe their finances, we're going to flip the switch and turn it on ourselves. Instead of looking at them as, well, they shouldn't have that, I should have that. We're going to look at them as, okay, well, this is giving me a clue of what I want or the direction I want to go in. So when we think about those things, what is it that you want? So in the relationship scenario, you see that somebody is in a relationship. What about that relationship do you envy? Is it the relationship itself? Do you feel lonely? Is it having a companion? Is it having a partner? Someone to help you with things? Is it about being supported? Is it about the physical affection? What is it? Okay, we had a little glitch there. Hopefully now it's fixed and it doesn't happen again. As I was saying, when we are feeling envious, it is often because we have a sense that we haven't done enough for ourselves and like we deserve more than what we're getting. So many times we're working so hard and we feel like we're running in place. And then we look at others and it looks like it's so easy for them. Never compare yourself to someone else. Have compassion for them. Everybody's fighting their own battles. And I know you've heard that before, and I know you know it, but how do we do this? So the first thing I asked you to write down was to jot down if you were envious, who you were envious of, or what you were envious of, and what it entailed. And then look at that and flip it. Use it as an inspiration instead of envy. So envy is pulling you down, it's pulling you backwards. It's making you angry. It makes you frustrated. It makes you feel like you're not good enough or you're not getting enough. When you look at people who have achieved things that you want to achieve, there are things that you can learn from them. Maybe not those people in particular. Like when you're talking about a relationship, getting a relationship, timing means a lot. And how you go about meeting people. So if you're looking for a relationship, the first place to turn is to yourself and work on yourself. When was the last time I had a good relationship? Have I ever had a good relationship? What is it that I'm longing for? Is it the partnership? Is it having somebody to hang around with? Is it the physical? Is it all of it? Knowing what we're really looking for and yearning for gives us a better idea of what we need to focus on as we move forward. So we want to look at those things. And if you want to look at someone who is successful in their business, instead of envying that person, look at that person. What hardships have they had to go through? What are they dealing with? What sacrifices have they made? And can I do the same thing? When we look at things like finances, we're not all starting off in the same place. And even if we think we are, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we're not. No two people are exactly alike. So just because something worked for someone else doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. However, being envious of that person's success versus being inspired by that person's success is going to make sure it doesn't work for you. If you can see the things that they've given up or the things that they've gone through or the things that they've learned in order to get to where they are, you are more likely to get there. So instead of looking at envy and feeling envious and putting yourself down, what you want to do is look at this and pull it apart. What from this can I use? What from this do I have to utilize? Where can I go from here? Oh, I see they have a business. So they started with a business plan. Maybe I need to make a business plan. Maybe I need to have an idea of what kind of business I want. They have a lot of money. How did they get a lot of money? Well, they worked 70 hours a week. Or maybe they were born into money. Or maybe they went into the stock market and that worked well for them. You need to look at the things that you envy and then break it down and make them goals for things that you can do. So finances, I want X amount of finance. I want to make 100,000 a year. How do you get there? You don't start at $100,000 a year most places. So how do you get there? Do you need more training? Do you need more education? Do you need to be mentored? Look at the ways to get there instead of being envious of somebody who's there already. Maybe you could talk to them and you can learn from them. When we're talking about romance and we're talking about relationships, even familial relationships, like relationships within a family, how did they get there? It's not just dumb luck. It takes work for relationships to work. You have to be open to listening. You need to be compassionate. You need to be willing to listen when you've done something wrong and take responsibility for what you've done. So having that in place, how else can we overcome envy? Because envy very often is that little voice in the side of your head, and it's constantly like, well, how come they have that and I don't have that? I've done the same thing as them. It doesn't matter what they have. So the first step would be talking back to that voice, maybe not out loud, depending on who's around, but talking back to that voice and saying, it doesn't matter what they have. What matters is where I am. I want to keep my vibration high. What is it that they have that I would like, that I could build towards? And remember not to shit all over yourself. This should be this way and this should be that way. Well, the basic facts are, if it's not that way, there's nothing you could do about it. And if you're shoulding all the time, then you're just spinning your wheels and not getting anything accomplished. Because when you use that word, well, it should be this way, you're already telling yourself that's not the way it is. As soon as that word comes out of your mouth, well, it should be easy, but it's not. It should be whatever, but it's not. So listen to your diction, listen to what you're saying to yourself, and listen to what you're saying to others. Listen for those words that throw you backwards. I hate her. She's so pretty. I should have a house of my own by now. I should be married. Like, that's a really scary one, because when you look at somebody else's life, you're not seeing the whole thing. You're just seeing the surface level. Just like if somebody's looking at your life, the other thing to do is you turn around and look at your life. What do you have to be grateful for? What do you think people envy about your life? And believe me, if you're watching this, you either have a cell phone or a computer, you at least have electricity. You have things to be grateful for, whether you realize it or not. Build up that gratitude list. Right now, take your pen and paper, or however you're going to write things, and write down 5 things that you could think of. And it should be the first 5 things that come to mind that you're grateful for. And look at them. These are things you can build on. Do you have a job? Do you have a good resume? Have you had a good job? Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have somewhere to sleep? Do you have something to eat? Do you have running water? There's so much to be grateful for, even when you're not feeling grateful. And that's why every day, at least once a day, you need to take a deep breath, look around you, and start thinking about the things that you're grateful for. Remember, you can only start from where you are. You can't jump over steps. You can't fast track things. Success is not overnight, even if it looks that way. Take your time, write it out or type it out. What is it that you really want? And the easiest place to start is what you're envious of. Well, they have a bigger house than me. It's not about them having a bigger house. Do you need a bigger house? Do you not like where you're living? So it's looking at those kind of things and asking those questions that will lead you to what is most important. Remember, envy is one of the 7 deadly sins. That means it's one of the heaviest emotions. It will bring you down faster than almost anything, because envy serves no one. It really does not serve a good purpose. And the only way for us to change that is for us to consciously fight against it, to consciously make the decision to flip it into something useful, to take that energy and use it for something useful. If you think someone else has it all, I'm here to tell you they don't. There's always something more. So if you were to take a moment and really think about what you want and what would serve you in the best possible way, I want you to take a moment and think about that and write it down. And then when we're done, I think we're going to talk a little bit for those of you who are at the meetup and are participating, where we do a talk amongst us after we're done the part that's recorded. And then we may record a method or a shamanic journey or something that'll help us along our way. And that'll be the second part of the video. It'll be a separate video. You need to keep recognizing what is working. Thank you, Allie. Keep looking for what's going right. Because wherever we focus, wherever we put our focus upon, that's where our energy is going to go. And where energy goes, things manifest. So if you're constantly thinking about, oh, I can't get in a car accident, I can't get in a car accident, you're going to get in a car accident. It's like guaranteed. I have a friend who's so crazy about driving. Like, she's terrified of driving. She's terrified of anything happening to her car. She's constantly on top of that. I never seen anybody get in so many accidents in my whole life. She went driving home and it was kind of snowy 2 times on the way home. It's less than 2 miles. Like, hello. And because the whole time she's behind that wheel, oh my God, I can't get an accident. I can't get an accident. I can't get an accident. All Spirit hears is get in an accident. Let me get in an accident. Let me get in an accident. Because they're there to show you that it's not the worst thing in the world. It's really not that big a deal. You can survive this. You're okay. And also, that must be what you want, because that's all you're thinking about is getting into a car accident. So don't do that to yourself. Don't throw shade at other people either. Part of envy is when we are not hoping for the best for other people. We are wanting their successes, whether it's by stealing it and taking it, or we're just wanting them not to have it because we don't have it either. We have to be very careful of this, because basically what that energetic is that you're throwing out into the universe is that, this is bad. I don't want this. The universe does not separate. We're talking about vibration. So it's not separate whether you want them to break up or whether you don't want to have a relationship. It's the same vibration. It's on the same frequency. It's the same radio station. Might be a slightly different song, but that nuance often is lost as that energy is building. So are you building up a crescendo so that you are successful? Or are you just busting everything apart because you're angry that somebody else has it? And then you're working against what it is that you want. So I think when we're done here, Spirit's telling me that we do have an activation that we can go through that might help you recognize more what your envy looks like and be able to deal with it on a more metaphysical level, because you'll have something to visualize. So I am going to end this video right here. If you would like to be part of the discussion, go to meetup.com and look for Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics with Geralyn St Joseph. And I'm near Philly. So if you look in the Philadelphia area, it'll come up better. Join us, and then you'll know exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about it, and you will be able to join in the discussion and be here live. But for now, it's time to end the video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you found any of this information helpful. Also, please leave in the notes, what do you think are other methods that you could use to get around your envy? How else can you overcome your envy besides the things that we talked about? And also let me know, what is the next thing you want to talk about? Thank you so much. This is Geralyn St Joseph, and this was Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics, and also relationship empowerment. Mahalo.